important story coming in from the Election Commission, where the Election Commission has written to 62 national and state parties about its plans to introduce remote voting, which will let domestic migrants vote for any election from any part of the country. The polling will be carried out via multi-constituency remote voting machines, or the RVMs, which will be similar to the EVM but will register votes for different constituencies. The new reform is expected to tackle issue of domestic migrants who can't go back to vote. The Election Commission will also carry out demonstrations of this exercise on 16th January and will seek written comments from parties by 31st January. Meanwhile, Congress leaders have cast aspersions on the move and said that the existing EVMs should first be made hack-proof. I am joined by to take the story further, I am joined by our guest right now. Dr. S.Y. Qureshi is joining us, who is a former Chief Election Commissioner. Sir, appreciate you joining us on this very momentous move by the Election Commission. So how do you see this entire move of a remote voting system being introduced? Of course, this is at the exercise, the stage right now. They're going to be carrying out an exercise on 16 January. But this was a long-standing demand by people at large and of political parties also, that there should be a way by which people, no matter where they are in the country, will be able to register their vote at their native places, and they do not have to let go of an opportunity to register their mandate.
It is a momentous move, no doubt. And the best thing about it is it is very democratic. Election Commission has called all the political parties for a demonstration of this machine, has asked the parties to give their written comments, and then thirdly, they will only be doing a pilot first. All these are excellent moves, and I wish them well. As you rightly said, migrant voting has been a long-standing issue. Although migrants abroad, their issue was tackled in 2011 when the law was amended that they could vote from wherever they are, but they had to come home. They were registered as voters, but they had to come home. Now it is not easy for employees all over the world to come home. But at that time, the debate was that while we have a small percentage of people who have gone abroad, but there are 10 times and 20 times more migrants within the country. What do we do about them? And can we have double standard? If somebody comes from Patna to Delhi, he has different norms than if somebody goes from Delhi to London, he becomes a VIP. So that was the issue which has been hanging fire for a long time. Now, this reform seeks to address the issue of the domestic migrants, which is excellent. And I hope that the pilot will lead us to something. Only the one legal issue which I would like to point out, that already currently under the law, if you are living at a place for more than 6 months, you are normally resident for which is defined as 6 months, you are supposed to register there. So the domestic migrants coming from Patna to Delhi can register in Delhi. That facility they already had. But many of them were reluctant. That they wanted, because vote is a political power, and they wanted to exercise it at home where they belong. At the same time, you would know, take the case of Delhi alone, migrants from Bihar or UP or from wherever, where they are settled in Delhi, once they have the voting rights, it attracts the political parties and the leaders, they come with their promises. Once you lose your voting right in Delhi, so the political parties will start ignoring you. So best is to give the option to these migrants if they want to have the right at home. Fine, let them choose that. Or if they want to register here locally, it is up to them. I think that's a good idea.
But Mr. Qureshi, I will have to ask you, when there are political parties like the Congress who already cast aspersion on this entire concept altogether, because remember, they had their doubts about how EVMs can be hacked, and now of course they're maintaining that even these RVMs, the remote voting machines, can also be misused in a sense. So is there going to be any way by which you have a mechanism to avoid any such incident or doubts in people's minds?
So I think the best thing which the election commission is doing, and that's the only way to take political parties into confidence. First thing is demonstration. They have invited all these parties for a demonstration. If demonstration is successful and it convinces the political parties that their secrecy will be maintained, there will be no manipulation. So they will go ahead with it. So, consulting the parties, taking them along is the way forward, which is what is happening. But I see it as a difficult problem to solve. When a simple EVM, which is nothing but more than a calculator, press a button, a vote is added. And it has been a subject of debate for the last 40 years. It has gone to the court repeatedly. Making these remotely controlled machines acceptable will not be easy, but I think consultation is the way forward.
So, and how long do you think it's going to be taking approximately, if you have any assessment of it, by when can possibly people start using these RVMs in the upcoming elections?
So obviously the machine has been developed. It has been tested, tried. Although in the press note I did not see the name of the participating PSU. If it is a famous PSU, why has the name not been disclosed? That is very important to know. So for credibility. But since machine has already been developed and it is ready for demo, so once the demo succeeds, and after that it is tested and tried on a pilot basis, then election commission is ready to take it off on a large scale. Just to remind you, EVM itself originally in 1982 was pilot tested in half a constituency of Kerala called Parur, half an assembly constituency. Since it was a great success, political parties themselves started demanding it. Later on in 2011, when VVPAT, now VVPAT was again introduced. In my time, the controversy against EVM was at its peak. We called all party meeting, which we think is the best thing to do, and we asked them, "What is your concern? Please share with us and tell us the solution." And it was suggested that VVPAT will be the answer. So we said, "All right, we adopt the VVPAT." We asked the companies to start developing the VVPAT. They were made, and then we pilot tested them in 5 different locations,
And
in 5
ask you, sir, do
different
you think
climatic.
that even these RVMs, the remote voting machines, should also have a paper trail, so that if there is any doubts in the mind of the people, of political parties or other people at large, that can perhaps be taken care of if they have a paper trail attached with the RVMs as well?
I think now that we already have the paper trail in practice, we are using it all over the country. I'm sure these machines will have a paper trail. That is a minor requirement. But otherwise, whether this data can go elsewhere and votes can be transferred to wrong places, no, that answer has to be given, and that will happen through the demonstration and the pilot and the VVPAT.
Dr. Qureshi, we appreciate that you took out time to join us here at Mirror Now on this very important story that we were tracking. A welcome move for many migrants across the country, that if everything goes well, then no matter where you are in India, you will be able to have your vote register and exercise your franchise back at your native place.